Ever since the tier shifts for the month of January of 2024, a lot of new Pokemon have dropped to their respective lower tiers, most of them dropping into the underused tier, and a few dropping below that. Whenever a tier shift tends to happen and a lot of Pokemon drop at one time, the metagame tends to shift into a hyper-offensive overdrive for some reason. That's because most of the new Pokemon on the offensive side are more fun to use and play around with and to test out, rather than some boring big war that sits there for 10 turns doing not much. People don't like to see sitting ducks that much and play with sitting ducks. They love to see fast-paced, strong action. And that is why a lot of metagames tend to shift to hyper-offense. When the hyper-offense metagame rolls around, everybody's going to put some screens on their team and just play around with the new toys, trying to set up and instantly win games. And games can become quite hit or miss, mostly from your own side. If you're facing down and staring down hyper-offensive teams, you seem to lose quite quickly rather. And it might be a struggle for newer players to become accustomed on how to play in such a fast-paced, reckless environment. Today, I want to just talk about a few methods you could use to counteract and protect yourself from the hyper-offensive metagame. First tool that you can use is Disruption. Disruption includes moves like Taunt. Taunt the opponent so that they cannot set up and power through your team. When the opponent has set up and their setup sweeper is slower, haze them, remove the boosts that they've procured over the turns, reset their progress. Encore. Use Encore to clap hands at the opponent. Make sure they stay setting up for life. It gives you time to plan your next moves instead of losing instantly. And lastly, one last tool of disruption that you can use is Trick. Tricking the opponent into locking themselves into a move is a good way to turn the opponent's threat into your own opportunities. That's the first bunch of things you can do to assist you in taking out the hyper-offensive metagame. Secondly on the bucket list, I'll prioritize them. Most setup sweepers tend to move speed alongside attack. Sometimes not, but often they do. Use priority moves to catch them when they least expected, or to kill a boosted sweeper after it has boosted and traded some of its HP to get to that boosted position. Priority moves can out-prioritize their strong attacks and save you the game in a pinch. Third thing, becoming unaware. Okay, that's not something you choose to become, but use an unaware Pokemon if you are unaware of what the metagame threats are. Using an unaware Pokemon is a good safety net to have in the back when you play your heart out, but just one threat in the opponent might get out of hand or suddenly get an opportunity. An unaware Pokemon is something you can absolutely pull back on just to keep yourself safe. The most unpopular way, but one I think is very underrated, is just copy the opponent. If you don't know what's going on in the tier, or you have an idea of what's going on but your team is weak to certain threats, or you don't enjoy the hyper-offensive metagame itself, copy the opponent. Play whatever team you desire. If they get out of hand, or you made a mistake and you granted the opponent a setup opportunity, use Choice Scarf Ditto. Ditto copies their stats exactly and you'll always be one stage faster than them due to your Choice Scarf. So you can almost reverse sweep them. If they get too greedy with their boosts, you copy their greed, you take what's theirs and do it better in return. Lastly, you want to be all out attacking and just click and win. If you can't beat them, join them. It's very fun to play in a hyper offensive meta where you can, of your Pokemon. People tend to get very creative with the EVs and IVs in a hyper-offensive metagame, making sure that these EVs inch out those EVs. My Garchomp will live yours while will live your scale shot while yours will die, and I'll be faster than XYZ threat after I scale shot you. The offensive metagame gives rise to a lot of creativity in Pokemon depth. How you build a Pokemon, what moves you choose to run on a Pokemon, what moves define a Pokemon, what becomes standard in Pokemon. But there you go folks, not a long video at all. I just thought I'd ramble and give you guys some tools to use during this confusing time for the lower tiers. How you can keep yourself safe in a world where everybody is clicking Swords Dance from turn 1 and trying to win the game from there. If you did enjoy this video folks, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will be doing a lot more of these. Until next time folks, thanks for watching. We'll be here turning out.